I'm Sophia Heber-Brock, and welcome back to another edition of the North News. On Tuesday, May 17th, the class of 2022 had a senior breakfast on the football field. Compliments of the High School North PFA and senior parents. Let's take a look at the event.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Alexa.
All right, what college are you going to?
UConn.
What are you majoring in?
Psychological sciences.
All right, and what do you plan on doing with that?
I want to work in a rehab and help people with substance abuse.
All right, and how do you feel about leaving North?
It's pretty sad, but I'm ready to move on.
I'm Kirsten Dunn.
And what college are you going to?
I'm going to be going to LaSalle University in Philadelphia.
What are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in nursing.
And how do you feel about leaving Middletown North?
It's definitely bittersweet. I am definitely going to miss all the friends that I've made here, but I'm going to definitely stay in contact with everyone, and I'm really going to cherish the memories I made here.
Hi, I'm Alana Santiago.
All right, and what college are you going to?
I'm going to Brookdale Community College.
All right, what are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in English education.
All right, and how do you feel about leaving Middletown North?
It's definitely, I guess a good word to use is bittersweet. It's, I'm excited for the future and what's to come, but I'm definitely going to miss, all the memories, all the programs I'm a part of, all the clubs, and all of the friends that I have here, but I'm excited to see what's next.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and I am going to Clemson University, and I will be majoring in nursing. I am actually really sad about leaving because I've had a great 4 years here, and I really love all the friendships and sports teams I've joined here, and I've just made some really great memories.
I'm Jordan. I'm going to Coastal Carolina University. As of now, I'm undecided, and I'm also going to be really sad leaving North because all my friends are here.
I'm Bridget.
I'm Anna.
All right, and what colleges are you guys going to?
University of Florida.
Westchester University.
What do you guys plan on majoring in?
I'm planning on studying criminology and continuing on the pre-law track.
I'm studying nursing.
All right, and what do you guys want to do when you graduate college?
Not totally sure, but probably something with law.
Travel.
All right, and how do you guys feel about leaving North?
It's gonna be sad. I'll miss my friends, but I'm definitely ready for the next chapter.
Yep. I'm Sophia Heber-Brock.
All right, and what college are you going to?
I'm going to Fairfield University.
All right, and what are you majoring in?
Right now it's digital journalism, but I might switch to communications.
All right, and how do you feel about leaving North?
I'm excited, but it's also bittersweet. I'm happy where I am. I'm not so eager to go, but I'm not so I'm happy where I am right now.
Hi, I'm Brittany Lanino.
All right, what college are you going to?
Rutgers.
All right, what are you majoring in?
Elementary education.
What do you plan on doing after college?
Studying at school and becoming a teacher.
All right, and how do you feel about leaving North?
I'm super sad to be leaving all my friends, but excited to go on the next journey of my life.
Audrey Ravini. I am going to Michigan State.
All right, what are you majoring in?
Human biology.
All right, how do you feel about leaving North?
I am so sad. It gave me the best of the friends, and I love my administration.
There's something for everyone here, and I just hope that everybody finishes strong, everybody passes all his or her classes, and that we have a great graduation right out here on the field, just like we did last year. So I'm looking forward to the experience and signing a lot of yearbooks and wishing everybody the best.
Miss McGowan, Miss Goldfarb, Miss Van Etten, and Miss Woods judged the Poetry Slam on Wednesday, May 18th in the courtyard. The students in grades 9 through 12 wrote and performed their own poems. Miss McGowan talked about the event.
My name's Miss McGowan, and every year we try to get as many students as possible within the whole school to come out and share their poetry, their own written poetry that they have put together, and share it. So we have all grades come, and this year our winner, Carmen, she was a freshman. Our second place winner was a senior, Kaylin Nickerson, and our third place was a sophomore, Nicole. So it's a great opportunity for students to come and share their own poetry with the school.
The TV film students had an eventful year. They had a record-breaking year, being accepted into over 25 film festivals so far, with more to come. Here is a montage of some of the events from this year.
So, Cosmo, what was your favorite film festival this year?
Probably HorrorCon. It was amazing, meeting all the famous people, the guy from The Walking Dead, seeing our films premiere on that huge screen in that amazing theater. It was an experience.
What was your favorite film festival?
Mine was Big Dreams Film Festival.
And how was Big Dreams Film Festival?
It was so good. We got to see so many good films, and the environment was very nice.
And it was at a mansion, right?
Yeah, it was so, I don't know, it gave off a certain vibe unlike the rest of the film festivals. But at the Atlantic City, New Jersey HorrorCon was also pretty good too.
Yeah, you got to meet some people.
Yeah, got to see some nice vendors, a lot of cool items.
And got to see your film on the big screen.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, May 25th, 23 student athletes were recognized and honored for making a commitment to play sports at the collegiate level and playing in Division 1, 2, and 3. A thanks and appreciation to the coaching staff who trained and supported these athletes throughout their seasons, to Danielle Kansky, the athletic trainer, to Mark Rosamilia, the strength and conditioning coach, to the families, friends, and teammates who encouraged, cheered, and motivated these athletes to perform at their best level. We wish our future collegiate athletes continued success in their respective sports. Miss Lyon hosted James Swearingen, a world-famous composer, to work with our band students and guests from Raritan High School on May 24th and 25th. Mr. Swearingen composed a special piece of music for our North Band students, which he conducted at the spring concert. The band students will be performing that piece of music at the upcoming graduation ceremony. Here's a look at the night.
The North Concert Band had a piece commissioned by composer James Swearingen. This process took just under 1 year for us to perform this world premiere piece. In 1 year from now, this composition will be published and available for purchase by bands across the country. Mr. Swearingen traveled from Ohio to work with our students and members of the Raritan High School Band, as well as conduct at the concert. The rest of the night went just as amazing, with the Uproar Jazz Band opening, followed by a number of pieces by the concert band.
So I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so anxious to have these young students play this piece for you. I want to let you know that the score, this is not the real score that will be published. It will be published and it will be sold all over the world, and we hope a lot of bands play it. And let me get my readers out. I remembered my readers tonight. Yeah, I heard one of the students say we're so proud of you. It says across the top here, commissioned by and dedicated to the Middletown North High School, oh, I didn't say that right, Middletown High School North Concert Band, Middletown, New Jersey, Beth Lyon, director. This, in essence, is my gift to the band, to the community, and to the students here before you and Ms. Lang.
That's it for this news. We will be seeing you soon with one more episode before the end of the year. Thank you. Welcome to another edition of the North News. I'm your host, Sophia Haber-Brock. We're going to begin by reviewing some of our holiday events this season. The homecoming dance was held on November 23rd. The night included a VIP tent with a DJ, food available for purchase with food trucks, and of course a traditional homecoming bonfire. Mr. Scala and the student government members facilitated the alumni tour of the Wall of Champions in the upper and lower gym hallways. North had its first pep rally of the year out on the football field, where we also had the chance to welcome back our principal, Dr. Cartier. Let's take a quick look at the event. On Tuesday, November 30th, we held our 8th grade open house. It began with a presentation in the auditorium, followed by a tour given by students of the school. We also had student club representatives in the media center. Congratulations to Mr. St. Clair, who was recently announced as the 2021-2022 Teacher of the Year. I sat down with Mr. St. Clair for an interview that you can see on the Middletown North TV Film Production YouTube page. The North Drama Club put on the play A Midsummer Night's Dream on November 18th and 19th.
The owl so cock, so black of hue, with orange honey bill.
There, my Lysander and myself shall meet. And thence from Athens turn away our eyes to seek new friends and stranger companies.
I will go tell him of fair Hermia's flight. And then to the wood he will tomorrow night pursue her, and for this intelligence
found I none on whose eyes I might approve this flower's force in stirring love.
Thou done! Thou hast mistaken quite, and laid the love juice on some true love sight. And now, I do wish it, love it, long for it. And
on Thursday, December 2nd, the Theater Ensemble Honors Class presented a student reproduction of Into the Woods Jr. Actress Alexa Mansour sent a message to Mr. Cullen's TV film classes and the Arts Academy, giving advice in the entertainment industry. You can see the video she sent on our YouTube page. Jacob Waters' short film Lights screened at the Krampus Film Festival in Asbury Park and won Best Student Short Film at the New Jersey Film Awards. Sophia Haber-Brock's documentary on movies screened at the Bad Film Festival in New York City and the No Limits Film Festival in London. The winter concert was held on Tuesday, December 14th. Here are some of the highlights.
happiest of all, every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing.
Santa Claus has come to North for the pre-K students in the Media Center for the morning and afternoon classes. That's it for this news report. I'm your host, Sophia Huber-Brock. Have happy holidays and a happy new year. I'm here joined by the Teacher of the Year, Mr. St. Clair. So thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Sophia.
So how do you feel about winning Teacher of the Year?
It's embarrassing to a point. Like, I'm very excited, very happy, but walking through the hallways and people, my colleagues, former students, hey, congratulations, good job. It's a little embarrassing. I kind of just want to teach and do my thing, but it's a very, I'm very honored and very humbled to win the award. I was very shocked when I got the phone call a couple weeks ago from Dr. Cordy.
Oh, and can you tell me that story that you were talking about before?
Okay, so I want to preface this. I'm from a family of teachers. My mom and dad were both teachers. My brother's a teacher. My sister tutors. My dad, back in 1976 or 1977, he won the Teacher of the Year. There's a big plaque in my parents' house. My brother won at his school a couple of years ago, Teacher of the Year. And they always would joke, like I wouldn't be able to sit at the big kids' table, But when my son was younger, we would go to different schools for football games, on a Sunday morning. And a lot of schools have parking spots, Teacher of the Year parking spots. And I would always park in it if I could, and I would joke and I would take a selfie in front of it. And I posted one a couple of years ago, so this would be the closest I ever get to being Teacher of the Year. And now I became Teacher of the Year, so I don't know, it's pretty cool.
You're following the lineage.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a Teacher of the Year spot here or not?
I don't think so. I haven't been told that there is, and I think if there was, it'd be by the main office, and that's further from my classroom, so I don't even need it anyway. So.
Well, that should be your first decree as Teacher of the Year.
Teacher of the Year. I want whatever spot's closest to your classroom, wherever you want. That'll be the Teacher of the Year spot.
So you said that you're in a line of teachers.
Yep.
So how did you fall in love with teaching and chemistry?
Well, I went to college. I went to the University of Scranton as a chemistry major. And my dad was a chemistry teacher, and my grandfather owned a chem lab. So chemistry runs in the family. And I went to school as a chemistry major, but I found things that I didn't want to do. I took certain classes that didn't spark my interest further in chemistry. And then senior year, I took an elective class. A friend of mine, we were online, and Mr. Collin will tell you, we were literally standing online to pick classes. And a friend of mine, she was a marketing major, and we decided, hey, we both need to fill an elective. We took an education class, and I liked it. It was a freshman level class. And we were having it was a very interesting class. So I told my dad, I was a senior. I said, I think I want to become a teacher. And he said, well, it's a little too late to change your major. So then after I graduated, I went through the alternate route program, and that's how I became a teacher, because part of the time I was subbing for a little while after college, and I found myself trying to teach the kids instead of just sitting there giving the assignment, reading the paper. So I'm like, I think this is what I want to do. And then I went through the alternative certification program. Haven't looked back.
Did you ever think that you would become a teacher before that, or?
When I was your age, no. I had my dad as a teacher. Hearing my dad and my mom talk about, I didn't think there was, something that I wanted to do. But I was 17. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But it wasn't like I couldn't picture it, but I didn't always picture it, if that makes any sense. So it was just something that kind of, as I went through, and I helped with my old Boy Scout troop, and I always found myself teaching something. And my first boss, she actually reached out to me when she found out I won Teacher of the Year. And she was the person who hired me, my first teaching job. And she said, I knew when you were in high school that you were going to be a teacher, just the way you were in the classroom. I didn't know it. Other people saw it in me, but I didn't see it at that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Where else did you work other than here?
I started at my old high school, Clifton High School. So I worked there for 7 years. I worked with my father. It was the best on-the-job training. I worked with my dad, and I worked with my godfather, my dad's best friend. So they were both chemistry teachers, and they showed me the ropes from day one. And I worked there for 7 years, and then, you have to leave the nest sometime. And we moved down to Middletown, and I've been here for 17 years.
Do you have any fun stories of working with your family?
Yeah, sometimes high school kids can be a little gullible. So when they would see that, my old school had 4 wings, and everyone's mailbox was in a specific wing. And my dad and our mailboxes were on the same, his name is Jim, my name is Tim. So they're right next to each other. So we would get each other's mail. Our students would ask if we were related. And St. Clair's not a very common name. And my dad, I remember him telling one of my students, yeah, we're related. I'm this older twin brother. And then seeing the wheels turn, the kid trying to figure out, is he pulling my leg, or, how does it work? So, so that's, a couple of those things. My dad was the first person, other than my students, when I got the phone call that my wife was pregnant with our first son, and my first child, my son. And I got the phone call, and my class was all cheering and clapping for me. And my dad was walking through the hallways, and he popped his head. He goes, what's going on in here? And I said, what do you want to be called? He's like, this isn't an old, because there was always a joke that he was the old man St. Clair. And I said, well, do you want to be called Pops, Grandpa? What do you want to be called? So that was really, really cool. Me being able to tell him that he was going to be a grandfather, in our workplace, which isn't always the most common way you're going to find it. There was a reveal, not really gender reveal, but hey, you're going to be a grandpa.
Wow, that's so nice. Can you talk about your experience teaching here at North?
It's been awesome. The day I came in 17 years ago, and again, like I said, I came from working with my dad, and my godfather. So I came from 2 people who were always looking after, they look after your kids, no matter how old they get, to coming here. And I found, the faculty, especially the science department, has been wonderful. We really work well. I was teaching physics at the time. Mr. Bechtel kind of was a father figure to me here. Mr. Capola, who retired a few years ago, he was kind of that guy for me with chemistry. So, it was very, it's a wonderful, family. It's a family of sharing ideas and getting along and stuff. So it's been awesome. And, this, and I'm getting all these compliments about being a teacher of the year. And it's not just a me, I share it with all the department, the other chem teachers, the bio teachers, the physics teachers, because we all kind of work together and we all help each other, so it's been, and when I started, I was still kind of the new guy. And now 17 years later, we have newer, Mr. Drazel's a new chem teacher, and I helped him out when he first started teaching chemistry. So I'm taking that knowledge that was passed and the resources passed down from my dad and my godfather to new, and I had a student teacher for the first time last year. So it's felt good for me to pass on what I've learned, to quote Yoda from Star Wars.
Yeah, student becomes a teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you just tell me some of your memorable experiences being a chemistry teacher here?
Memorable experiences, I remember like a lot of times when we would have the Bring Your Child to Work Day, and everyone would I would always volunteer. I'd put on a Mr. Wizard type show and tell, different, explosions and stuff. And I remember Dr. Cartier walking in, and she was very worried about what I was going to do. Are you sure this is safe? We have little kids here. And then I said, you don't worry about what we're okay. If you're here, we're okay. Imagine what I'm doing when you're not here. So, stuff like that. And just, going in between from one classroom to the other and sharing an idea with whoever I share a room with, whether it's Mr. Sedicado now, Mr. Capola, Mr. Drazel, Mr. Folks, bouncing ideas. It's more, teaching is teaching, and you kind of make your own experience in the classroom. But that, you kind of build on it every year. But now, this last couple of years, I'm working with Mr. Silvestri every day, which has been new. It's been awesome. Ms. Wellington. So having another teacher in the room with me is a lot of fun, because it only makes the experience for the kids better. Because I kind of have a, when you're filming stuff, you have a script you want to follow, right? I kind of have a script where I know what I'm going to teach, especially if I teach the same thing 3 or 4 times. But when you have, another teacher in there, Mr. Silvestri just say, I just did some research with what we're talking about, and I found this out, and it just expands on the lesson. I've never, knock on wood, I've never yet set off the fire alarm, even though it's chemistry class. Just working with the other teachers, that's really been very memorable for me. And I love hearing from the kids, and I see a lot of them as sophomores. Some of them come back like you for AP as a junior. When I see them as a senior, and I see them going through the progression of high school. That's wonderful. I love seeing them at graduation day. That's more memorable than any lesson, any specific lesson that you can teach. Obviously with you, remember when in the beginning of junior year, or when I teach someone why as a sophomore, then as a junior. And then I don't see them much as a senior. And then they come back, and that's I think more memorable than any lesson. Seeing the kids grow up basically.
And so you were talking about the fire alarm a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Do you have any other stereotypical things of a chemistry teacher that you fall into, or?
My kids try to see if I know all the elements on the periodic table. The big board is up there. They stump me sometimes, but I know a lot of them. So I don't sit there and memorize it, but 24 years of teaching, you kind of know where things are. I don't have a lab coat that I wear all the time. I should. I have one in the closet somewhere, and I think I might tie-dye it and do that as a lab with the AP kids. Well, they'll tie-dye t-shirts, and I'll tie-dye a lab coat. I don't know what other. I like to burn things. That's fun stuff. I like to burn stuff. I like to blow things up, but it's never gotten to the point. That's why I have one where we have this powder that you kind of like LeBron. LeBron in the basketball games when he claps and the baby powder goes up. You send the powder up through the air and it goes through a fire. It's a big fireball. and it's very, very quick. But you have to make sure, like especially in my classroom, you're not doing it right underneath the sprinkler system. Otherwise, you could have some, But we burn things. We make stuff. I make silver. We make copper. We do experiments. Things change color, but
Is it still fun after 17 years?
Yeah, well, you know why? Because from year to year, it's different because there's a different crop of kids, and even from class to class. So I have 2 Chem 1 classes on A day and 2 on a B day, and that's 4. I'm doing the same lesson 4 times in a row, but everyone's a little bit different. So it's the kids that make it interesting. It's the personalities in the classroom that make you go off on different tangents and still get the work done, so it keeps it fresh. I'm not a robot. I'm not a YouTube video that you just watch this video and learn, because if I was, then they would be learning the same thing. Just watch the video and answer the questions. So, so it's different, and that keeps it fresh. And now, with coming out of virtual learning, I'm doing things a little bit different, trying to get back, and I'm excited about getting back into doing real labs. Last year was tough, you know. So that's bringing a freshness to it, because we're not just sitting on a computer, So it's good.
And what is your obsession with shirts?
That's a good question. No. So for those of you who don't know, my classroom is filled with chemistry shirts. My dad, and I'm talking a lot about my father. He's a very big influence on who I am, right? But he's been retired, or he retired in 2006. So it's just 15 years ago. But he always would wear chemistry shirts with jokes on it and stuff. And for Christmas, my birthday, my mom and dad would always get me chemistry shirts. And that I don't really wear them around all the time. And I hope my mom doesn't see this, because she would get mad at me. But so to honor that, what I do is I got command hooks and I hang them up all over the room, and they're chemistry jokes. I tell jokes periodically, or try to be like a proton and stay positive. So things that I want to hang them, like if you go to the Boston Garden, they have the retired jersey, or go to Yankee Stadium and all the retired numbers. I have all the T-shirts up. So that's where it came from. So, and when my mom got mad, I said, "Oh, I have this. I want to hang it up in my classroom." And she's like, "Well, why come you're not going to wear it?" And I said, "Well, so I can see it every day. So it's up. So it's some new stuff. There's a couple ones that aren't chemistry though. Like they found out, I don't know if it was your class. They found out the Oompa Loompas. Yeah. I have a fear of the original Willy Wonka Oompa Loompa. So one of my students last year got me a Oompa Loompa shirt, which it's not. I don't see it. I see it when I walk in the room, but I don't see it there. Like I have to go like this. I can't. I think my sister traumatized me as a little kid when we watched that movie. She must have made me watch it or something. And there's a mental block there. My sister has it with Jaws. I have it with those Oompa Loompas. Yeah. I don't know.
I think that's a perfect end to the interview.
There you go.
Okay. But also, so what about your own son? Is he going to go into chemistry?
He is not going to go into chemistry. He's taking AP chemistry now, and he's doing very well in it, and he's a hard worker. And I've enjoyed helping him. When he's home, he gets me as like free tutoring, right? Like my dad helped me, because my dad was my chemistry teacher in high school. I had him for 2 years. I had my godfather for a year, then worked with him. So I'm seeing the other end of it, helping my son out. So, but he wants to work in sports. He wants to have one of the 30 jobs that are available. He wants a general manager of a Major League Baseball team. So he's going to college for business and finance with a sports analytics angle. So, and that's all you want for your kids. I would love, I wouldn't stop him or my daughter Julia from following and being a science teacher. But
continue the link.
Yeah, but my daughter, she's mentioned that she wants to be a teacher, which is, it's a noble profession, And I think, and seeing how she acts with other, her younger cousins, and she's a gymnastics coach for 3 and 4-year-olds. She's a natural. Like, I see her working with young kids, and she'll win Teacher of the Year multiple times. I'm confident, but no pressure. No.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sophia, thank you very much for having me. This is, I'm honored, and I'm still embarrassed by, I'm getting interviewed with all these cameras and stuff. So.
Mr. St. Clair, Teacher of the Year.
Thank you very much.
Long ago, there once was a village. In this village, there was a clown named Hugs. His favorite pastime was entertaining the children. One day, a new clown came to town and stole the show. What was once a source of entertainment became a burden for Hugs. Suddenly, the sounds of laughter morphed into the sounds of heckling. Hugs grew to despise the kids he used to entertain. Legend has it, he went deep into the woods and he found a magical book. He used a spell from the book where he wanted revenge, so he lured the children into the woods with a song. He would say, "The children of the night, what beautiful music they make." Those children will never be heard from again. Every so often there may be a sighting of Hugs, especially when children end up disappearing, but no one has lived to see if the tale is true.
Welcome back to another edition of the North News. I'm your host, Sophia Haber-Brock. As many of you know, October is World Bullying Prevention Month. Within this month, we also celebrated the Week of Respect, School Violence Awareness Week, and Red Ribbon Week. This year, Ms. Duca has prepared a special calendar to help us promote acceptance, tolerance, inclusion, and kindness on a daily basis. To start the week off, on Monday, we did a Blue Up for World Bullying Prevention Day. On Tuesday, we had PJ Day, Put Disrespect to Rest. Wednesday, Respect Others' Differences, Wear Mismatched Clothes. Thursday was Jersey Day, Team Up Against Bullying. And Friday was Lion Pride, Wear Orange, Black, and White. Here's Dr. Falco with a few words on Respect Week.
Here at High School North, the Week of Respect has become so much more than a catchphrase, and we are so very proud of that. We thank our teachers, our students, our support staff, our coaches, our parents, for committing to creating a culture of kindness, acceptance, and inclusion.
Around 'cause he ain't got nobody to listen. I'm blue, I've been deed, I've been died, 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 I've been deed, I've been died. I'm blue, I've been deed, I've been died, 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 I've been deed, I've been died.
If you walk around the school, you will see bulletin boards throughout. Take a look around at all the clubs and organizations that North has to offer. Make sure to check out the MHSN announcements newsletter found on the Middletown North website. You can check out all the upcoming special events, sports, co-curricular clubs, fundraisers, and news from Middletown High School North. The National Honor Society and civic leaders held a fundraiser to collect non-perishable items for the Red Bank Crop Walk. Some of our National Honor Society members attended the event on October 15th at Red Bank Regional High School, helping to organize food and walk the victory lap. The high school football players are division champs. The high school North football team secured the Shore Conference Independence Division Championship, their first division title since 1983. Congratulations! The limited edition Roar of the Shore spirit wear designed by a couple of our student graphic designers are now on sale. Support the Class of 2022 Senior Yearbook Scholarship. The Senior Council held the Haunted Woods on Thursday, October 21st at Tyndall Park. We had our largest turnout with over 1,800 attendees.
Can you tell me what this event is for?
It's actually a fundraiser for our senior prom.
Are you looking forward to this event?
Yes, we are. Looking forward to.
How has the event changed since COVID?
Well, there's more precautions being taken now because of, social distancing and stuff like that.
I think it'll be a good turnout this year considering I don't think there was one last year.
Yeah, so more people will show up.
Yeah, it should be exciting.
So, what do you do in this event anyway?
So right now I'm helping with crowd control and I'm helping take people that need tickets. So just directing them as to which way to go for tickets.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
He did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash.
That's it for this news. We're going to close out our show with our annual Halloween segment. Thank you for watching and have a great break.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down, when you're strange. Faces come out of the rain when you're strange. No one remembers your name when you're strange. When you're strange. When you're strange. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down.
By Mr. Heaney, and we're going to talk a little bit about the new chicken coop. So can you start by just explaining what the chicken coop is?
Well, we had the greenhouse project going about 2 years ago. We did really well with the greenhouse project. We had a lot of kids. And one of the reasons why we were outside doing a lot is it got our kids to come into school. And they were really excited about coming to school. And once we got the greenhouse in order, we were always, Mr. Calvin and I were looking, what's the next step? What can we do to really get these kids going, that motivate them to want to come to school every single day?
How long has this whole process been?
Unfortunately, it's been about a little over a year and a half that, due to COVID at the end of last year, that shut us down. And then, most of this year, we haven't really had the attendance that we wanted this year with the amount of kids that were in school learners. So, we did set us back a little bit, but about a year and a half.
So is this project completely student made, or how much do you do versus student?
Some of the stuff Mr. Kalman and I will do, but for the most part, it's mainly student made. And if they have a suggestion of how they want to alter the plans, they did alter the plans a little bit of how they wanted it just to make it their own. We let them run with it.
Did you guys run into any problems creating
The entire way. It seemed like from the very beginning of digging the foundation down there, that things weren't level right away, and how are we going to adjust it to make it level from the beginning step to the very end of it, when we closed the doors and they weren't able to close right away, to the painting and getting paint everywhere. It seemed as though every single thing that we did had an obstacle, but actually it was a great learning experience for the kids. You got paint over here where you shouldn't have. How are we going to fix that? The door wouldn't close. Problem solving skills, lessons that they would learn. They wouldn't learn normally in school. They were able to adjust, and it came out really nice. I mean, it's still not done. It's not all the way. We were just ready for chickens. But
how will the chicken coop be utilized?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of ideas of how to incorporate the staff here. Possibly working on making breakfast for the staff using the eggs. We're going to give out. We have some of the eggs here. I'd like to show you guys in a couple minutes. Any student that wants, any teacher that wants to bring their class down there and visit the coop is more than willing to go down there. We had a class down there yesterday showing them how to take care of the chickens, how to feed the chickens. A couple of them even held some of the chickens. And I think in a couple of weeks, we're going to work on with different teachers and how we're going to involve their class. In my classroom right now, I have 4 baby chicks that they're growing in here. They have to be about 10 weeks before we can get them going outside. I also have 9 fertilized eggs that are in an incubator that when those hatch, we're going to bring them outside as well. Last year we did that, or 2 years ago we did this with the child development class. They actually had some of the eggs in their classroom, and they're doing that again as well. So I had a dozen eggs, fertilized eggs. I gave them 3 because their incubator could hold 3, and they're going to. The kids will be able to see those virtually hatch.
How will over spring break? How will the chickens stay taken care of?
That's a great question. So Mr. Kalman is going away, and me and the Para, Miss Reuter, are going to be coming in every other day just to check on the chickens. Now, right now, what the kids are doing right now is they're topping off all the food and the water, and then we're not going to feed or water the chickens for the next 2 days. And what we're going to do is we're going to monitor how much food and water they consume in those 2 days, and that'll give us a good idea of how often we have to come here over break. The baby chicks that I have in the classroom, they are actually going to go home with one of the staff members, and I will be coming in to check on the fertilized eggs because they have to be at a certain temperature and a certain humidity. So I have to lower the incubator and add more water.
Are there any other things you want to add that are important?
Right now, I mean, it's been a real fun project. The kids are really motivated now. I have a lot of kids who are at home. They're chopping at the bit to come back to school. They had to stay home because of the recent COVID scare. But it seems, and I have kids talking about how they can get involved or how they can get in the program to get involved. And Mr. Kalman and I are thinking, well, what's next? What can we do next that can top the chicken coop? So, maybe a goat was mentioned, possible. Just something different that you normally wouldn't have at a school. That we can try to bring into school. I think it's just something that motivates kids to want to be here.
And it definitely makes North very unique.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had more phone calls and more tweets from people of how can we incorporate this into our school. We had an interview with the Middletown South teacher the other day, interested in getting this type of program over there. So I mean, it is going to be contagious, I think.
Okay, that's all the questions I have, so thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sophia Haber-Brock, and today we're on location at the new Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash comic book shop. So let's take a look. So can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what's happening today?
Hey, I'm Ernie O'Donnell. I am the, construction contractor here at the Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash rebuild. So we've been at this for a few months, moved from 35 to 65, and created a great space for all the fans to come in and check it out. We got tons of new memorabilia, including the Iron Bob crashing through the wall. We got a new Buddy Christ shrine. The Blowmobile's all lit up. We got some really cool artwork here and some cool sideshow collectible stuff. So when you get a chance, come down to the new Secret Stash, Jay and Silent Bob.
So today we're here with Ming Chen, and can you just talk about why we're here today?
We're here for the brand new Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash at 65 Broad Street in Red Bank, New Jersey. An exciting day, my friends. Everybody should come down here. It's the home of Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob, Comic Book Men, Ming Chen, Comic Book Men. I mean, just fun. Where else can you have this much fun?
So can you just introduce yourself and talk about what we're here for today?
Yes, my name is Walter Flanagan, and I'm an employee here at the Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash, the new Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash at 65 Broad Street in Red Bank. After 20 years at 35 Broad, we've moved up to 65 Broad. Cue the Jeffersons music. I know you girls don't know what I'm talking about.
But it's okay. Anything else you would like to say?
I would love for everybody to come out and check us out. I know it's in the middle of the COVID and everything, but wear your mask, come out and see Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, where Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes are supposed to be down here, and really celebrate and kick off this new store in the proper way.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
All right, thank you.
So can you just introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about what this is and where we are today?
Sure. My name is Michael Zapsik. I'm the manager of Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash. This is the new space. If you look around, you can see comics as far as the eye can see. And we've got plenty of Kevin Smith memorabilia to make any fan happy.
And what's the difference from here to the last location?
This is bigger, brighter, more energy, and it's new. So we're excited about, Kevin's commitment to. He's rededicated himself to comic books and to the city of Red Bank. So we think that's pretty special.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have. So. Got it.
Surprise guest or two.
Oh yeah, you never know. I love it.
Hello, Middletown North. I'm your host, Sophia Haber-Brock, and welcome back to the first edition of the North News for the 2021-2022 school year. Here is an introduction to our first story that recently took place on location in Red Bank.
Son, when you grow up, would you be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned?
Hey, everybody! It was so nice we had to do it twice. Welcome back to Movies, ladies and gentlemen. May I present to you New Jersey icon, Mr. Jason Mewes. happy to be here. Not only are we returning to movies here at Gianni's, the wonderful folks at Gianni's hosting us yet again, but we return here almost the third time. We were here a month ago shooting Clerks 3 here. This became the movies from Clerks 2. We got Jason Mewes here to cut the ribbon. We do that, we can start eating, everybody. Here we go. Ready? Count of 3. 3, 2, 1, Stugan! Welcome to movies, folks. We can take a picture right over here.
This summer, Kevin Smith was back with the cast of Clerks to film Clerks 3 and Leonardo at the Quick Stop. After filming ended, Kevin and the crew brought back the movie's restaurant back to Gianni's Pizza in Red Bank, New Jersey for another week. People came from all over to experience the fictitious restaurant brought back to life. I had the chance to interview the Jay and Silent Bob characters Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes at Movies. Today we're at the Movies pop-up shop in Red Bank, and I'm here with
Jason Mewes. Kevin Smith.
Can you just talk about why we're here today?
He's the better talker than I am. Articulated. We're here for the Movies pop-up, which is an amazing, amazing place.
I'll take over, yes. The Movies pop-up, ladies and gentlemen, the second time we have done it here at Gianni's Pizzeria. Gianni's sweet enough, the folks in Red Bank, sweet enough to let us do movies here. Not only do movies here twice, last year and this year, but also we shot a scene, or 3 scenes from Clerks 3 here about 3 weeks ago. So it's not only just a fun pop-up movies restaurant. Now when fans come here, they can know that they're actually walking into one of the sets that we use. And for those people who are like, who are you old men? We made movies a long time ago in the 90s, before any of you were born, when you were not even figments of imagination. You weren't even a stirring in the loins at that point. We were making movies way back then.
And how was it filming Clerks 3?
It was very enjoyable. It was nice. It's been years and years. I mean, the first one was what? How many years ago? 28 years ago we made the first one. I don't know. I had a blast. Always playing our characters, which is Jay and Silent Bob. Is always very enjoyable because I get to spend a lot of time with this man and everyone. Dante Randall, who's Jeff Anderson, and Brian O'Halloran. They're great because I don't see them on the regular. So to spend 2 months with them, so much fun, so much fun. I love it. I can't wait till y'all see it.
Let me tell you why he liked it so much. Last movie we made was Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and since our names were in the title, we're in like literally every scene. So that is like going to work, because every day you're on call 12, 14 hours a day. Clerks 3, Jay and Silent Bob are in a few scenes. We're not the stars of the movie. So this guy had days where he'd come in, we'd be like, action, he'd be like, snooch to the nooch, we'd be like, cut, Jason's done for the day, and he was done. And he just went home. I had a blast. Whole thing was designed not just to like make a movie, which Lionsgate paid for, thank God. But I'm obviously very old and stuff. I just turned 51 the day we started making the movie. So for me, it was definitely more about therapy. People my age tend to go through midlife crises. I figured the best way to go about my midlife crises was to turn the clock back, go back in time. And so since we made that movie at the same place where I also used to work, if we made another movie there, it'd also be therapeutic because I could literally go back to work Quick Stop the way I did when I was 19, 20, 21. Good news is, unlike when I used to work at Quick Stop, I didn't have to be there, right? Like I was responsible back then. Now I could just walk in, pretend, and leave. So for me, it was great. Like it turned my clock back, and my clock's always been turned back. Like to be fair, like I am old, but I've since the movie took off back in like 1994, I've tried to live like a teenager, man, because teenagers really understand how to live. Very selfish, very self-centered and whatnot. No offense, but we all know. So this was a way of doing that, man. It was probably one of the most self-centered acts I've ever been involved in. I've never done therapy, but obviously this was very expensive therapy and stuff. I've just never sat on a couch. Those are my bragging rights. But I made a whole movie to kind of get over being old. So long story short, I had a great summer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
The TV film students had a busy summer as their films played in numerous festivals all over the country, from cities such as Las Vegas to New York City. We talked to 2 of the TV film students, Jacob and Samantha, about their films getting into film festivals and winning awards.
It was a really cool experience. Honored to be doing it. A lot of fun to film.
It was definitely a different experience. I've never done anything like that involving film festivals, and this was my first short film that I actually submitted. So it definitely a surreal experience, but very exciting, something I got to share with my family, and they shared my excitement.
It was thrilling, because I didn't even know I was going to win. It was just kind of a thing, because I worked so hard on the film, so I was just very happy to win. And it was a really cool experience.
Amazing. Also a little nervous because I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of standing there awkwardly holding the thing while my family took pictures and just saying a couple things about it. I was not prepared at all, but you know, it felt really good.
So we did this film called Lights, and we shot it in like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Pretty cool film, and hopefully we get that up in film festival soon.
Definitely a couple more. I want to focus more on the one I submitted in the film festival. That was just experimental, seeing what I could do, seeing how far I could go with the program with what I knew about it. This time I want to try focusing more on storytelling and making a more coherent story. Because last time a couple people were asking me, oh, what's going on? What's the story behind it? And I'm just kind of like, it looked cool.
We recently added new equipment to the TV film studio as we added podcasting. Mr. Cullen is here to show us the equipment, and if any classes would like to do a podcast, to just let us know.
Well, hello. I'm Mr. Cullen, and welcome to our editing room. Right here in front of us, we got something new. This is our podcasting equipment that we just got in. This is a mixing board. Why don't we take a closer look? Yes, right now we have 2 microphones set up. We could set up more. We're working on that. They have different connectors, so we're working on getting those different connectors for the microphones to set up. But right now, 2 people can come here and podcast, talk to each other. This is a mixing board, and we put the volume up on here. So we have 2 microphones here, microphone 1 and 3. You just make sure that it's on record, and this is the master right here. We have it all plugged in. We have an SD card inside here. You just talk in, you hit record, and you have some nice sounds. Of course, you put the headphones on. Once you put the headphones on over your head, you can hear the other person nice and clear, and you can create a podcast. You can edit it as well. So here on this side, we have StreamYard, where you can record right on the screen. So you can talk to anybody all over the country, anywhere in the country at the same time, and you can record your podcast not only on audio, but also on video as well using StreamYard. So putting all this together, block 3, usually I'm in here, and you can come in, and if you just sign the sheet up, and you can record a podcast for class, or do it on video, or if you need to interview someone in another country or in another state, this is the best way to do it through StreamYard. You can do it at any time.
I recently had the opportunity to interview actor Joseph D'Onofrio, who you may recognize from the film Goodfellas and A Bronx Tale. He will be hosting a comedy event on October 16th at the Middletown Sports Complex. Today, I'm joined by Joseph D'Onofrio. He's known for many roles, including young Tommy in Goodfellas, Slick in A Bronx Tale, and his reoccurring role of Staten Island Mike on the TV sitcom Are We There Yet? And you worked with some really amazing actors, and you've been successful in both comedy and dramatic roles throughout your career, which I think you've had an amazing career so far. So actually, first, I think we should talk about your upcoming show, right, in Middletown. Can you talk about that?
Of course. Thank you for those kind words. I appreciate it. My show is October 16th at the Middletown Sports Complex. It's going to be stand-up comedy. I got 4 stand-up comedians and myself. I got Bob DeBono, Steve Marshall, Patty Roxborough, and Drew Frazier, and I'm hosting. We're going to have a 3-course dinner. Great food. It's only $65 a person. It's like you're getting the food and the comedy shows for free. It starts at 5:30. The doors open. Food's going to probably come out at like 6 o'clock. Eat, and then the show. And it's going to be really good. And thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, of course. It's great to have you. So what was your first big break? How did you get into acting and movies and stuff like that?
From breakdancing.
Breakdancing, wow. Can you talk more about that?
When I was a kid, I used to breakdance. And I was in a breakdance contest called the Big Breakdance Contest. It was in the city. And me and my friend came out like, I don't know, like eighth out of like 500 people. And a manager had seen me and she wanted to represent me. So we did a couple of commercials breakdancing. And that led to me auditioning for movies and TV shows. And that's how it started.
And what was your first like movie experience?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I played a movie hoodlum. I robbed a lady's pocketbook and then the turtle beat me up.
Wow. And then I know you have a really good connection with Robert De Niro, right?
Pretty much.
So how did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles turn into you working on his movies?
Well, I auditioned to play young Joe Pesci, and I look so much like Joe Pesci. And so they got me to do the part. I auditioned.
And what was your experience working on them? Do you have any specific experiences that like stood out to you or funny experiences?
It was just excellent. It was so great starting on that level and working with the best of the best. I mean, those guys knew what they were doing and they made it easy for me. They made me feel comfortable. I came in, I did my work, and then I went home, man. A really, really nice time. I'm very grateful to those guys.
You can see the full interview on our YouTube page, Middletown North TV Film Production. That's it for the news. Thanks for watching. Hi. Hi.
How you doing, Sophia?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Why am I sideways? Do that, and then aha.
There you go.
All right.
Welcome to Sophia's studio. I'm your host, Sophia Haber-Brock, and today I'm joined by comedian, radio personality, family man, husband, father, rock and roller, Mets fan, and more, Jim Brewer. So thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Sophie. How's it going?
Great. So actually, back in December, I met you at after one of your shows at the Stress Factory. And actually, I was planning to ask you to do an interview then, but I kind of chickened out of asking you, and it's like 5 months later of hounding Vinny to like help me get in contact with you. But you actually gave me some really good advice that stuck with me, and it was to do interviews to make connections with people and not do it for like the recognition. Or I remember you said something like, don't do it to be in the magazines. And I thought that was funny because like who reads magazines anymore? But
I aged myself.
yeah. But I thought that was so cool that you told me that, because that's like why I love to do these interviews. I love to like connect with people and tell stories and like hear people's experiences. So it kind of like reassured me I was on the right track with what I'm doing. So my question to you, actually, I know in your book that you wrote, like one of the big themes in that is to like stay true to yourself. And I know that's something that's really important to you.
Yeah.
So how has like being true to yourself helped you in your life and your career?
It makes sure the most important thing in life for me has been grounded from day one. And what that includes is having morals, having faith, having a focus on not what the world wants or what the world insists, but the natural order of life, which is it's caring for one another, it's having morals, it's doing the right thing. And many of us, we're brought up in a system from school on where you're ego driven and vanities, and you want to be a star, and all those are false, idle, false. It's worse than any other drug. You just keep wanting more and more and more, and you'll find yourself doing things you would never, ever do if you weren't chasing that goal. Meaning, if you're not a drug addict by nature, and all of a sudden you meet one of your idols or you can get a certain part, or if I start hanging out with this one, I mean, I don't do drugs, but I mean, it's kind of cool that I'm here with this one. Yeah, I guess and that's how fast you snap, and then you're on a path. And it's happened time. Doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how famous you get. People OD. They leave their families. They get depressed. They kill themselves. It doesn't matter. So the most important thing in life for me always, stay grounded, stay true to yourself. That's the number one thing, and then that bleeds into almost all my decisions.
And also from your book, I know that like when you're first starting, you watched other comedians and like learned from them. So what were some like influential experiences with other comedians that you learned from?
I learned to take chances. I learned to stop trying to appease everyone else. Just know what you do is funny and let them come to you. Don't, I went through a stage years ago. You might not even been bored. You probably weren't born. So when I was after the film Half Baked, I found myself with a huge following that was loved marijuana, and not there anything wrong with that, but they thought I was that guy. And although I was making money and I was selling out everywhere and people would throw things on stage and here's some grass, I found myself getting exhausted trying to pretend I'm something I'm not. And someone really helped me. I think the thing was the minute you stop being the part of the entertainment business and just be yourself, then it will start becoming entertaining. And that was one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. And that's what happened. But fear would always keep me away. Oh, what if I lose them? If I start talking about my family and blah, blah. But that's a big one. That was so. And then there was also, when I first started, I remember watching someone on TV doing an interview, and I wanted to be like them. And the guy was being interviewed, and he said, "What would you say to anyone out there who wants to be a young comedian?" And I grew up where my mom was always like, "You got to fall back on something, and everything's money driven. Money. How are you going to make money there? I want to be a physical therapist. Well, how much money is it? People don't really make money, and people make so many decisions on what money you will make, and that's a tragic mistake for many people." I remember he looked right at the camera and he went, "Don't listen to your mother." He goes, she wants you to fall back on something. I went, "Oh my God, because she's this guy in my house." And he goes, "Just think about it. Anything you want to do, why would you put 40% over here of energy and 30% energy here?" And he goes, "If you're going to do anything, put 100% energy, full steam ahead. If you're going to become a comedian, you're not going to be a star overnight. People go to college, they fail, they become drug addicts, they start doing this and blah, blah, blah. And then when they come out of college, nothing is guaranteed. They're in debt, blah, blah, blah. It's no different than any other journey. Just you put 100% into it, believe it's going to happen, set the goal, and just keep going after it, no matter how many things fall in your way and throw you off course. 100%. This is what I'm going to do. And you put your energy in. That was also really good advice, not just from me, but I tell that to everyone. I go, why? Even my kids like, I want to do, it bothers me when my daughter goes, "Oh, I want to go into psychology, but I don't want to put all my energy into that." I'm like, well, then why even do it? Why even do it? Well, just take your time. Do you find something you're really passionate about and go for it? Well, I don't know. Does that make money? Who's telling you this? Just go. Don't worry about money, because there's a million people out there. I live in a neighborhood that's filled with all people that make a lot of money. All the kids are miserable. Half the people are miserable. They don't spend time to enjoy life. They don't spend time to if they don't spend time just to take a walk, take a hike, understand what the real balance of life is and helping one another, you can't take all this with you. So follow your passion, put 100% into it, and just always do the right thing. And sometimes it seems like it's not going to work, but in the end, it always works. We don't know how long. You plant a seed here and then boom, right over here, it starts growing. You go, oh, wow, this is from what I did. Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. That's wild. So that's some of the best advice I had.
So how long did that take you to learn? Like in the beginning of your career, like, did you struggle with those things too? Or
Oh my God, yeah. But from the first I wanted to be a star. No, I wanted to wear leather pants. I wanted to be the white Eddie Murphy. He wore red leather. I was going to wear black leather. Then he came out purple leather. I was going to wear like red and black and look like a rock star. I was going to get exotic animals to fly in from other countries. I wanted to star in everything. So the first 10 years, because I started doing, I dedicated stand-up comedy to get me to everything in 1989. By 1999, I've been on multiple television shows, multiple deals, movie appearances, just started a movie, was on Saturday Night Live, but I met so many entertainers, and what I saw in the entertainment business, I was like, this is nothing. This is soulless. I don't know how to describe it. It's fake. It's soulless. It blew me away. We're like, wait a minute, you're such a nice guy in television, but you're a real not good human being. And is that girl of age? Like, how's this not out in the public? And you, oh my God, it was very shocking. Oh shoot. Sorry. You there? I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know how to turn off like where I get phone calls. So I'm like, so if it goes out for a second, it's because the phone call and I hit the decline. And so the next 10 years, I said I was going to do everything I want to do, meaning I want to walk away. I completely left. I had a daughter, started a family, moved out to the freaking woods. I mean, I went from a Long Island house on top of each other to New York City to I want to slow it down. And then another big change was when I lived out here, we would have men's night out. We have fathers all hang out and stuff like that. And we were at a tavern and this woman came to me and she goes, oh, you're the famous guy in town. I went, and she goes, no, you're the guy, right? I went, yes, I'm the guy. She goes, but you're like really filthy and you're like the drug guy, right? I can't bring my kids to you because you're the drug guy. I went, what? I got so angry with this human being. But at the same time, it hit me and I went, well, if she feels that way, how many other people feel that way? And why do they feel that way? Where did that, and I kept asking, like, where do you get that? Have you ever seen me live? No. But you think I'm the drug guy. Well, yeah, aren't you like all the kids talking about, like, are you talking about a film experience? Like, what are you talking about? And that moment changed because then I realized I'm really going to only do things that I'm going to open the door to society to I trust who I am. I trust that I'm a good person. I trust that I'm a good husband. I trust that I'm a good father. I trust that I'm a good friend. I trust my morals, my faith. I trust all of it. And from now on, I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. You're going to see me be funny, but there's times where I'm going to let my heart out, and I'm going to let you be. I'm not going to hide that I take care of my dad. I'm not going to hide that the kids mean more than me than anything else. I'm not going to hide that. No, I don't go cheating on my wife. Me and my wife were best friends, and we have ups and downs in the marriages, and I'm going to let all that in. And I'm going to use my stand-up comedy and all that to give. It's a new form of healing and therapy. So to answer your question, it took a lot. It took a while. It took 15, 18 years before I settled into that path. And now, 2008, 18, that was God, a long time ago. So.
And do you think like you have it all figured out now, or like, is there more to learn always?
Oh my God, there's so much more to learn. It never ends. It never ends. But I never look over my shoulder. I always look straight ahead. And I also make sure I don't get stuck in the same spot for a long time. I'm starting to realize your best moments in work, in family, in life, your best moments, like, I got the biggest raise. If you stop that, just like being in high school, Tyler's the best quarterback in the history, but when he leaves school, he's probably not going to be a great quarterback. But Tyler's going to be stuck there for there's a lot of Tyler stuck right there. And then you see 6-7 years and you're like, Tyler, is that you? What have you been up to? Tyler's about 450 bills now. He's depressed. He works just lifting up stones. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you can't stop. You always got to keep looking forward. And how do I keep getting better and better and better? At least that's what I do.
Yeah, me and my friends talk about all the time, like, oh, where do we think this person's going to be in 10 years? Like someone who's like peaking in high school or something. Like we find that so funny to think about.
You'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised. Who starts accelerating in the race and who just crashes hard into the tree. Oh my, I did not see that coming. Or, oh my gosh, wasn't that the quietest person in high school? Are they running for Congress? What's going on here? Yeah, you're going to be shocked.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Okay, so how did you like get the bug for comedy? Like, were you always funny when you were little, or like did you just wake up and was like, oh, I'm going to be a comedian?
I think we watched a lot of television shows, and a lot of it was comedy. And I was really little when I'd watch with my parents. But I think when it really kicked in was in around 5th grade, somewhere around there, in fifth or 6th grade. Someone asked my parents if I can watch or I can listen to a record, an album. And it was Steve Martin, who you probably don't even know who that is. And Steve Martin, who's now known as like an actor or whatever. He hasn't been doing stuff in a while, but he was one of the first, if not the very first comedian to sell out arenas. And he was doofy. He had balloon wrapped around his head and a fake nose and glasses. And I was completely blown out of my mind that someone goes in front of a crowd and just does comedy like this and you can make records and stuff. So then I was watching more and more and more and more. But around 16 is when I started writing and really imagining that if I'm not going to be doing this, I'm going to be fronting a heavy metal hard rock band. It was either way. And the comedy came a lot easier.
Well, you also got to do music too, right? You also got to follow that path after your comedy
Yeah, and
a little bit.
I gave up on that, but I also realized it's another thing. It's like being the Forrest Gump of stand-up comedy. I grew up going, I want to hang out with Metallica. Boom, I became friends with Metallica. I want to work with this actor and that actor. Oh, wow, yes, working with these actors. I want to hang out with my favorite team, the Mets. Oh my God, I'm hanging out with Mets. I want everything I said I wanted to do. I want to sing I sing with AC/DC. I sing with Metallica. I sing with, and in my head, I visualized it as I'm going to be a star, blah, blah. I didn't visualize it as just moments in time, which are so gratifying if you just allow it just to be that. But yeah, I've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff. But none of that compares to like the lunch I had yesterday with my youngest daughter. I picked her up from school. She had study hall, which then ended school. I said, let's go get lunch. She's like, can we get wings? I said, sure, let me look for a place that has wings. And we went, she's like, I know where they have sesame. All right, we went, got sesame wings. And she started talking all deep about life and structure and the world. And Dad, why do we learn this in school and that in school? It doesn't help us in life. Why don't they teach you, like, you ask great questions? And we talked for 2 hours. And I can guarantee I'll remember that moment much longer than singing with my favorite, with the rock star I never thought I'd sing with. Not that I would take those moments away, but they're just moments in time.
Okay, and something I really wanted to ask you is about your laugh. So your laugh is like so iconic, and when I saw the show, I was like, okay, anyone who hears your laugh knows it's you. Like it's iconic.
Yeah.
So has your laugh like evolved when you're doing comedy?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I didn't realize it was a thing until at least 15 years ago, where people go, you just, because I remember a comedian going, do you realize every time you giggle, it ignites the entire crowd? Really? And then I didn't, I still don't think it's as, I don't realize it as much as I don't think of it as that. I mean, clearly it is, but I don't realize it. I don't get it because I'm not trying to do it. Before I was even a stand-up, I would hang out in the street corner and I was hang out in school. I was the class clown. So I enjoy everyone having a good time all the time. And if we're stuck somewhere, so I would tell stories and I'd laugh at the stories while I'm in the middle of the stories because I'm a visual. I visualize things. So that's how I write things. I see them, I visualize them, and then I act them out. So while I'm in the process of doing stand-up, even when I'm live, I'm seeing where I'm going and it starts cracking me up. I'm entertaining myself, which I feel has been extremely important for me. I need to entertain myself or you're not going to be entertained. And that's where the little giggle or it comes from a real place. I don't go like, oh, that joke sucked. And then I can't even do it right now because it's fake. But yeah, I don't know if I always laughed like that. I don't know. I think I did.
Yeah, I mean, like it's your job to make other people laugh. I would hope you laugh at your own jokes. Like,
oh, I do. I crack myself up. Thank God. Sometimes.
That's good. So you worked on SNL. So, like, what was it like? Like, who were some of the people that you met on SNL that like you really connected with, or who really influenced you?
I don't, you know, I don't know if there was so much freaking gnats. Get out of here. Um, y- y- I don't think anyone really influenced me, but my I went closer to the comedians because we all understand each other. So I was on a great cast. I was with Will Ferrell, and which my kids are always like, wait a minute, you worked with Will Ferrell, Dad? Yeah. Oh my God, you didn't tell us? Well, I tell you about my career every day. So, but Tracy Morgan, he would say things to me that was so, we were more of a friendship thing, and he'd get all deep and spiritual, and he'd say things like, yo, I'd be in the middle trying to write and go, Tracy, wouldn't it be funny if we did this? And he's like, yo, Jim, you need to be a father. I'm like, what? He goes, you change as a man once you become a father, man. You got a kid spirit. You should become a father. You don't belong in this world. I'm like, what? Yeah, all right. Well, let me give you this idea. And he was an influence on a human level, on a deeper spiritual thing. So comedy wise, you know who was an influence? I could say this. Molly Shannon. She played the character Mary Catherine Gallagher, which at the time everyone loved this character. So I didn't get to do any of my characters yet. I'm still trying to get on the show. And Molly Shannon did this character. She committed to it. And I stood on the side of the stage because I was in the beginning of the sketch, and then I was off and I watched. And I'd always cheer everyone on. I always hoped everyone did great. She crushed so hard. I remember looking at her and looking at the crowd going, ah. And I went, I don't want to do little sketches. I want to do sketches that do that. And she lit a fire under my rear end. So comedy wise, Molly Shannon on SNL, deeper spiritualized, Tracy Morgan, hands down. That was my two big inspirations while I was at SNL.
And yeah, I know that you're really spiritual too, right? So, like, what were some of your most notable, like, spiritual experiences?
Well, there's a lot to tell. It's all, and to me, it's individual experiences and how far and wide you're willing to expand your thought process, and just listen and entertain that thought or feeling. So I'll give you, gosh, I don't even know how to, there's so many. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of a broad question.
yeah, it's a very broad question. So I'll give you one and you decide what it is. It's now again, there's tons. The worst pain I ever experienced in life was losing my father, but I got to hold him to the very end. I begged God my whole life, no matter where I was, I'm like, God, please, all I want is, I don't want my father to be alone. I want to be there when my father has to go. And I would do this all the time. And so that moment came, I got to hold him. It was a powerful experience. And I highly suggest it for anyone not to fear. If you know someone's going, don't fear holding them. Don't fear watching them go. It's the most powerful, beautiful. It's empowering. It's enlightening. You can't explain, and you get in touch with what real humanity is about. It's not about Lady Gaga and her tweets or LeBron James or whatever any of these people have to say. Or science tries to define. Science can't define instinct and love and spirituality. A lot of people put their heads to, oh, science, don't. I mean, you can, but numbers are also manipulated by people that are being paid. So with that said, I hold my dad to the end. Now, when I lost him, it was about a month and a half, 2 months later. And I pray, however you want to. I shouldn't say pray because some people don't like that word. I talk to. I go, God. I just want to know. I accept whatever happens, but will I ever feel him again? I don't need to physically see him. I know that's impossible. But do I feel his energy? Do I feel, because this is so painful, I just want to know if there's something. I know there's an anybus. And while I'm doing that, I start hearing this tapping. And I look. Matter of fact, oh shoot, hold on. I'm gonna take. So go in my house. And so this happened in this room here. That stuff's there because of the cats. So I'm in here crying. I'm like, Dad, did we become anything? And the window starts tapping. And it's that window. And I go walking to the window, and there's a cardinal flying into the window. And he's hitting his wings against it. So then I look, and the cardinal goes on that little branch and just starts staring at me and starts going. I'm going, what the? All right, that's weird. So I started walking away, and then the thing started hitting it again. And I was like, what? Part of me is like, Dad. And I don't talk bird. Like, you want me to get bird feed? Like, what do you want me to do? Should I not let the cats out? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. And we are so deprogrammed to not even have that thought process or even talk to anyone because it's so far out there and weird. But then what happened was, starting the next morning, in the room that I held my father when he passed, down there was tapping on the window, and I looked out from my bedroom like, what the hell is that? And I went downstairs. Who's that freaking cardinal? And then I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then he would go to the next one, and then he'd go around the house, always back to that one. Well, this went on every single day. And it would deflect me from crying really hard. And because you get primal cries when you lose someone. Your mouth opens when no one's around you. And you'd share it with some people, and some people are like, oh, don't you know that cardinals are spirits and they're angels? I'm like, okay. Yeah, but I just don't know how to, like, why is it here? Is it here to give me comfort? Is it here to, and then you talk to someone else and they're like, oh my God, so you really believe that? You really believe that? It's a freaking bird. It sees its reflection. It's trying to attack it. It's a male bird. It's all it's doing, idiot. All right, I guess that makes sense too. But this bird lasted a year and a half every day. Boom, 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 boom. Went through the winter, went through the spring, went through the following summer. And, I talk about on stage, it did become a joke. We filmed it, and my kids were like, can you tell Grandpa to stop banging on the window on the weekends? Because it's annoying. It's so annoying if it's him. And so I'd have people come here and stay from Florida and like, we're on vacation, kill the bird already. So everyone knew the bird. And the thing lasted a year and a half. And then a year and a half later, we were on vacation in Turks and Caicos, and I had one of those primal cries. And at that moment, I stopped and I let my father go. I talked to God. I said, God, I am so sorry that I kept him here. And I talked to my dad. I'm so sorry that I kept you here. I can't keep crying like this. You're gone. It is what it is. I want to move on in life. I want to think of you, and I want to laugh. And I just want to move on. I want to think of who you are. I want to see. I don't want to cry anymore. That's what life is. They should have taught me this when I was young, instead of Ponce de Leon and algebra. And if I can't concentrate, they'll give you a drug because you got, quote, ADHD, which is what I call kids hate and know how boring and stupid this all is. So that's why they don't concentrate. You give a child anything that they're into and they will excel. So with that said, I let the bird go. I let my dad go. When I came home, my father-in-law, the first thing he says, he was watching our cats, and he goes, hey, that bird stopped hitting him. The bird left. And at this point in my life, I'm so tapped into looking into higher spirits and moments and all that, and we don't know, and blah, 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 that I actually laughed of how I was like, of course he left. He left. That's just mind blowing. Now, if I didn't go through that process, I wouldn't think that way. Would it have happened anyway? If I didn't do the process when I was in the living room, was that bird going to be there anyway? I don't know. But in my world, it did. Energy moves things. We have so much we have so much power that we don't know about. Telepathic, and it's, oh, that's crazy. No, it's not. You think of someone, you call them, and they go, oh my God, you were just on my mind. Yes, that's deeper than everyone realizes, except for the phones and the computers and the school and the education and the television show and the films and the TikTok. I mean, it's all meant to distract you 24/7, because the minute I believe this exists, and the world does everything it can to distract it. They're getting into politics, getting into sports, follow this, read the bottom, because while you're watching this, and it's meant to distract you. And the only time you start realizing this is when you go back in the nature and you just quiet and be still with no phone, no nothing. So, but the funny part is, my father-in-law, when I told him I let my dad go, and he goes, oh, for Christ's sake, are you real? They're birds, they migrate. And I love that story, because that just shows it's not to be debated. There's nothing you can say to convince me it's anything else. And there's nothing I could say to convince him it's anything else. That's just my journey, my style of living, and it really works well. It's amazing. It's powerful. And for him, I hope it works out for you.
Actually, I've grown up so my dad's really spiritual, and he's had a bunch of spiritual experiences too. And I've kind of grown up with that knowledge of stuff. So I'm really interested in that kind of stuff. And all the time I'll have those experiences. The other day I was thinking about one of my friends that I haven't seen in over a year, and then the next day she texts me and she's like, oh, I miss you, I've been thinking about you, can we make plans? I was like,
I got a great, you just reminded me of one. I was the person I really that first opened me up to all this was my great friend Jimmy Shaka, and we were high school buddies, and we talk really deep and heavy and go far out there. And what is this for? And why is that? And blah blah blah. And when I moved to Florida. My parents moved to Florida, and that's when I started doing stand up. And he was going to be a musician, and he was Long Island, New York, and he started singing, but we lost touch with each other because back then there were no cell phones, no computers. You lose someone's number, it's over. It's it. You can't find them. You got to call another. Oh, you don't have his number. Oh, dude, whatever. So I'm searching for Jimmy now. Once I started doing stand up nonstop. I wanted to tell him about the journey I started because we made a pact. You follow your music, I'll follow my stand-up. We're going to heal people. We're going to change that. All right. So a little over a year went by. I went back to Long Island and went looking for Jimmy. And his mother said, oh, he moved to Florida. I don't have his number here, but give me your number. And when he calls back, I'll have him send the number. And I couldn't, whatever. She kept not sending the number and forgetting it and whatever. So I get my first road gig. I'm really young. I was working at a restaurant and they said, you got to go to this place if you could make it there. It was a 5-hour drive. They told me I had maybe 6 hours. I had a 6-hour window. I had to take 5 hours. This is going to get me weeks of work. I went, okay. So I said, I got to get out of work right now. And I left and they were going to fire me. I drive to this place in Jacksonville, Florida. And, I go to the gig and the first show is canceled. Not enough people showed up. Second show, there's 10 people, whatever. The next night, same thing. And the owner goes, listen, kid, I'm not going to be able to pay you. I said, well, I don't even have gas money to get home. He goes, I'll give you gas money, but I can't, like, we didn't have people show up. And so the headliner goes, hey man, here's how we're going to do this. There's a club at the Holiday Inn tomorrow across the street. We'll go. I said, I don't have money. He goes, I'll buy you drinks. Don't worry about it. Come there. It's at 9:00. So I go over there. At the time in my 20s, everyone's in their 40s. Like, to me, that's so old. Like, I'm really old to you. This is where you're walking the club and there's a whole bunch of me's. You're gonna go, wah. So I walk in, I make it to the bar. It's packed. I'm getting out of there. I swear to God on my kids' lives. As I'm about to walk out the door, the voice is so empowering. It's so empowering and so amazing. It's striking a chord in me. And I asked the bouncer, I went, is that the club music or is that? He goes, it's a band. I went, that's a live person singing? He goes, yeah. I went, I have to see this person. I got to see what this person looks like. It's Jimmy Shaka.
Wow.
And I swear to God, it was like being a movie. And I'm going through the crowd and I got my eyes on him and he's on stage and he's singing. And he went, holy crap, bro, I want Jimmy. It's just, we're in the middle of nowhere, Florida. Like, what? 2 Long Island kids. And we were both like, I believe, and now I watch Star Wars in a whole different way. Use the Force, Luke. I sense a disturbance in the Force. I get it. It's awesome.
Wow, that's crazy.
Crazy. Coincidence? For some people.
That's like too good of a coincidence, though. Like,
that's insane.
Yeah.
And I've got a million of those. And once you start tapping into them, you're going, huh. It's pretty awesome.
Okay. And
probably mean your dad could probably talk for a while.
Yeah, you guys probably could. Okay, one other thing I wanted to ask about. So I know you did something with Clerks, right?
Oh God, yeah.
So
It's a bad experience.
should I ask about it or no?
Well, go ahead. Ask your question and I'll tell you what the deal is.
Okay, because I actually have like a connection with like Kevin Smith and Ming Chen from like the
Okay.
Comic Book Men, because
Okay.
I don't know, my film teacher like knows them or something, and I did a few segments for like my school's news. So
Okay.
I don't know, I kind of had a connection to them, so I thought it was cool
Okay.
that you had a connection with them too.
Well, here's the connection. I love the movie. It was one of my favorite movies. I loved everything, how just underground it was, how they did himself, blah, blah, blah. I still think to this day, for some reason, and I'm just going on nothing, that he don't like me. Okay. And that's okay, because it has nothing to do with me. Before Saturday Night Live, I was going to be on a sitcom, me and Dave Chappelle. And while we were filming and while the commercials were airing, it was going to follow this big hit show called Home Improvement way back in the day. And they fired me a week before it aired. And I was under contract with Touchtone Television, which is a Disney. It's under Disney. So the being fired was devastating. I was in the cover of TV Guide. I was in the major paper. I'm going to be making $75,000 a week. For a young kid, it was just mind blowing. It was the best thing that could ever happen. Which, by the way, another spiritual moment. I knew my marriage was going to end. My eyes were already wandering. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone in California, they cheat and and I was seeing it. And I was seeing it with my own two eyes. Like, oh wow, I guess that's what it is. Like, if you want to be a star, you do this even though that was something I vowed in my life I would never be. Here I am, ready to be it. And I begged God to save our marriage. I swear to God, I went, God, I'm in trouble. This is going to end our marriage. I don't know how I get around it. And what happens? He's like, you're fired. What? I didn't ask for that. Well, you don't get to choose what I pick, dummy. So at the time, the next day, I got a TV show that I tried out for Fox Television. I got it. And then Disney said, you're not allowed to do it because you're under our contract. So right out of the gate, I was pissed, angry, hated Hollywood. Now I realize I'm a slave and I can't even get out. You fired me, and now I got another TV show, and you're not going to let me do it because I'm under your contract and you want to put me in something else. I was not in a good place. And then they said, we got this other project that you're going to be part of. Like, do you like the movie Clerks? And went, yeah, oh my God, yes. I said, we're developing a TV show and you're going to be like, oh my God, it's a dream come true. The first week that we're ready to start auditioning, they let go of Kevin Smith. They got him out of it. They got rid of him. They're like, so you're gonna get rid of the creator of the entire project, and you're gonna continue with Clerks. Because that's not so. All this was all part of me seeing so much of Hollywood, so much and we end up filming the pilot episode. They then fired one of the other actors 6 weeks later, and we had to refilm the whole thing again. Then they said they were picking it up to start airing in whatever November, and then September came, and my agent's like, you got to move out to California, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, it did get picked up. So, but I heard through grumblings or whatever, like people were like mad at me, like, you try to do Clerks. I'm like, dude, you don't know the story. So until you know the story, is you're talking out of your rear end.
Yeah, I just was wondering because I thought it was cool that like we had that connection, but I don't have to include that in the video if you don't want me to.
You can't. No. To me, the more truth out there and the more stories out there and the more whatever, I don't have anything to hide. I have nothing to hide. Good stories, bad stories, humiliating stories. Humility is the best thing for any individual in order for them to grow as a human. If you don't have humility, you're going to have a lot of problems in life. You're going to let ego ruin everything.
And what are you working on anything right now or plan to work on anything in the future?
I have a couple things I'm planning on. I just want to do stand-up. I want to film what I'm currently talking about. I'm going to tour the end of the year. And this road gig that I have coming up in Orlando in the following couple months, I'm going to start writing a film. Whether it becomes something, it becomes something. I haven't done this in 20 years, but I'm doing it out of passion. I'm not going to think I'm going to sell it. I'm going to do it because I feel it's going to touch and move lives. And it's all true story stuff. And I think I know the beginning, the ending, and I'm just going to go for it starting this Friday is the first time. So if it becomes something, it becomes something. So I'm looking at that. And the next year I'm looking to put together a project called Funny How God Works. And they're all the spiritual stories that have happened where I tell all the stories and have a beginning, ending. And I'm in the process of finding the funny. It's good to go deep and heavy, but I want people to be able to laugh as well.
Wow, that's really cool. I'm excited to hear about them.
Me too. And I may start working it out, to be dead honest with you, at the Stress Factory in New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. So
I'll definitely check it out if it does come around.
it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. It'll probably be on Tuesday. It'll probably be Tuesday nights, and it'll be called Funny How God Works.
Cool. Awesome. Oh, and if your film does end up working out, if you need any PAs.
Oh, yeah?
I'm here.
Done. All right. Sounds good.
Yep. I'd love to be a part of it.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, that's everything I wanted to ask. So thank
you.
You.
Cool.
So
I wish you the very best. Stay grounded. And you are beautiful from the inside. It beams out of you. So keep spreading that joy and that energy. And I wish you the very best. Although I don't think you're going to need much of it. I think you already got it.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Take care.
Wow, he was awesome. I loved him so much. He was so great. Yay! I felt so comfortable. Like, yay! I loved his stories. He made me laugh. Like, it was so funny when he got up. Oh my god. I love that. Yay! It went perfectly. Best interview ever. Yeah. When I saw you laughing, you were like, yeah. I was looking at you. I was like, oh god, don't laugh. Oh my gosh. And you know how I mentioned that thing? I was like, if you need PAs, he's like, done.
Cool.
Oh, and what he said at the end was so sweet. Oh. Bye. Hey, you're not including this. This is not in the film. Cut. Hi.
Hi, Sophia. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Hello everyone, I'm Sophia Haber-Brock and welcome back to Sophia's Studio. Today I am joined by actress, producer, writer, Lainey Ventura. So thank you so much for joining me today. Obviously we met at the Garden State Film Festival with our podcasting with Ming Chen, and I just really wanted to talk to you more, and you had this poise and like this intelligence with your words that I really admired, and you're so creative, and it's just, I really would love to get to talk to you. So how did you, yeah, of course. How did you get started? How did you find your love for acting?
Good question. I'm not one of those people that can say when I was 3, I knew I wanted to be an actor. I knew that I wanted to be in front of people. And I didn't know exactly what that meant. So when I was young, I was a competitive gymnast and I used to perform and compete. And then from there, I started performing. I moved into dance after that and loved performing. But when I was in high school, there were the kids who did the acting shows, and then there were the kids who danced. And I was a kid who danced, and I didn't really cross over much outside of just some acting classes in school. And then I went to college and I had a friend who took me with him. He really wanted to be an actor and wanted to go on an audition for one of the plays. So I went with him and they asked me when I was there, why don't you audition? So I did, and I got a small part and I just kind of loved it. And I was lucky enough to be at a school that had a really great theater department that accepted people from other majors because I was a psych major. And I ended up minoring in theater and speech. And I ended up doing shows, and I was part of the drama club, and I was an officer in the club. So I got really, really into it in college and loved it, but never actually imagined I would pursue it after that because it just seemed to me that wasn't just something you did. So I was in graduate school getting my master's in social work. And I think I did some things in graduate school too. I had auditioned for a couple things there, and I think I was starting to realize that it was something I really wanted to do. And I was talking to my mom and I said, I feel like if I don't give this a try, I'll kick myself, And she said, well, then do it. And I think I was like in my 20s at the time. So when I finished out my degree there, and around that time I met my husband, and we started dating, and we moved into New York City together, and I started waitressing and got headshots done and started, got an agent and started auditioning, and it all kind of started then, I guess. And that's pretty much what I've been doing nonstop ever since. I mean, a little bit of stopping when I was having kids, because there was a period of time when I was just more home taking care of my, raising my kids, but still doing stuff as it came along, just a little less aggressively.
Yeah. And what was your first major project that you worked on?
The most recognizable thing I had done years ago was a Clairol commercial that everybody knew. It was a very popular campaign. It was a woman having a very good time with herself in the shower. And I did one of those and was recognized everywhere. So that was kind of a fun, big deal. And then I did a period of time where I was doing a lot of commercials, some very big commercials. So when I had moved out to LA in early 2000s and was pretty recognized a lot because I had a lot of things on the air at that time. So probably more recognized through commercials than I was through other stuff. But now, I do periodically, I'll book a TV gig or something and people will say, oh, I saw you on that episode of such and such. But I'm not there. I'm not quite there yet. I'm working on it.
Yeah. And what do you rather work on? Do you like commercials or what do you like more?
Well, commercials are fun because they're in and out, and they were at one time extremely lucrative. It's changed a lot over the years. Yeah. So that was a great way to get your health benefits and get your pension in the union and get quick recognition. And it was something to sort of, get the bills paid until the next job came along. But I love TV. I love episodic work. I love film work. And that's what I've been doing more of. I've done some episodic recently, but I've been doing more film work lately. And I love that too. And I'm now just starting to do more writing on my own. So that's kind of exciting. It's a little scary because it's new for me, but yeah, and I'm actually hoping to get back into theater at some point because that's where I started and haven't done it in a really, really long time because I just didn't feel like leaving my family. And I live in the suburbs now. I don't live in the city anymore. So leaving New Jersey to go into the city every night to do a play, I felt like I didn't want to be away yet, but I'm getting to a point now. I have my daughters in college and my son is going into high school. So I'm at a point now where it's becoming more of a realistic thing for me. So I'm kind of keeping my eye out now for maybe to do some theater soon. But I love it all. It's all fun. It just feels good. It just feels good performing. And it feels nice when you're like how we met at the festival, when you're there and you're watching all these movies and you're meeting all the people that are in the films, and you're watching yourself on film, and it's really, it's just great. It's just, it feels like such a wonderful place to be after so much hard work. We all get together and we celebrate this great, festival together and all of our work together. And it's, it's really fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, I relate. I did a lot of like how I got into this film and interviewing stuff. I started doing musical theater and like performing like that. So it's all like kind of in the same world. Like, yeah. And how does your family think of your acting? Do you guys have watch parties with your films or?
Well, that's actually a great question. When we were doing the film, I don't know if you saw Ensuite. I think you may have. Yeah, when we were working on that, because I was a producer on it and I co-wrote it, I was not involved necessarily in the editing per se, because the director and the editor did most of that. But I would get clips every day of what had been done so far, and I would often show to my husband or my daughter, like my kids had seen it, but mostly just on my laptop, and it got to the point, it was funny because I had only seen it for such a long time. And because we sort of did this right before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit and everything got slowed down. So it really took a long time. It was probably a year for us to get the film actually finished once it was shot, which is crazy for a 12-minute film. Like I felt like it should have been done in a week. Especially because we didn't have traditional editing. We had transitions, everything was shot with a stable camera. So every scene was a oneer. Every scene this was the scene, and then it just was a transition into the next scene. So we didn't have a lot of that little editing stuff that could be more time consuming. So for it to take so long was a little daunting. And then for such a long time, I had only seen it on my phone or on my laptop. And I thought, okay, yeah, the film's good. It's okay. And then the first time I saw it on a big screen was at the Newport Film Festival in LA in November. One of my producers who lives out there, we went together and we were in this spectacular theater, and the screen, it was new and it was beautiful and the sound was perfect. And all of a sudden the film started and we looked at each other, and halfway through we were both crying. Like we were blown away by the effect the film had on us on a big screen. And I always kind of knew that it was more powerful on a big screen because you lose so much on a little screen, but when you really experience that, so now like the stipulation is if I send it to somebody, I say, you have to watch it on a big screen or put it on your TV, because you're going to miss so much if you're watching it on a small screen. It just doesn't have the same effect. But my family did see it, some of like just my immediate family, but I really kind of wanted them to wait until they can have the opportunity to see it on a big screen. And then we were in a festival in New York City, the New York Shorts, and then they all came and they all got to see it there, and it was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah.
They're very supportive, thankfully, because it's a rough career sometimes, and sometimes you work and sometimes you don't. And when you're working, you feel like you can conquer the world, and you feel like you're the best in the business. Nobody can be better. Nobody's better than you. And then when, you go on 10 auditions and you don't book anything, and then suddenly you don't have anything going on, then you think, oh God, I'm the worst actor in the world. I have nothing going on. And those are mood swings that we as artists go through. And to have supportive people around me who can help pick me up in those moments and who don't judge me in those moments and support me is a pretty special thing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. And I would love to talk about Ensuite a little bit more. I know we talked about it at Garden State, but can you just share what your, like a little brief description of it, just so people know if they haven't seen it?
Sure. So Ensuite is a film about a couple who goes through, the film opens with her first surgery. She has breast cancer, and it opens with the day that she's actually going in to have mastectomy and starting her reconstructive surgery. And it's not so much about her cancer as much as it is about how they fare over the course of the year after that. Because she continues to have other, it's sort of understood throughout the course of the film that she has other surgeries, which is true. And this was based on, I think I may have told you, I had a breast cancer diagnosis in 2018. and I went through all these surgeries. And the idea for the film came to me when after my first surgery. It was a very intense, very long surgery, very painful. And I was healing in my bedroom at home, and I couldn't lie down because I had the procedure that I had involved taking some muscles out of my back and refitting them into my newly constructed breasts. So I couldn't lie back, couldn't lie forward. I had piece drains and paraphernalia hanging out of me and gauze. And so I was sitting in a chair just around fluffy pillows, and I pretty much slept in that chair for a couple of months. So the whole time I was up in my room, I was looking at my bathroom, and I thought, sometimes ideas just fall in your head. And I knew that I wanted to work with Jeffrey, my director. We had been friends. He had been coaching me for some time, and we were friends, and we were sort of friends, not that close yet. And I said, I really wanted to work with him. And I said, how can I do this? I need to come up with an idea for a movie to get him on screen with me. And so I had that in my head. And then I was looking at the bathroom, and I thought, I think it would be really cool to show a couple and their life in their most intimate moments, in their most intimate room in their house, which would be their master bathroom. And it was originally just a film of moments. In fact, we were calling it Moments at the time. And it was just moment to moment. It was like these little vignettes of moments where they would meet in the bathroom, sometimes together, sometimes not. And I want to say there were probably like 12 or so moments, something like that. And one of the moments had where he made a comment about her having breast cancer. So you knew, because my co-writer and I felt that we had to honor what I had been through and the fact that this was the inspiration for the film by acknowledging the fact that breast cancer existed, but I didn't want it to be like a huge thing in the film. Mm-hmm. And then when we showed Jeffrey the movie, when we showed him the script, he asked where it had come from. And I said, well, I had had breast cancer this year, because he didn't know. And he said, well, now I really love it. He goes, it's so personal. And he said, I really think you have more of a story to tell. I think it's a really cute film the way it reads now, but I've done cute stuff. I've done web series. I've done all the cutesy stuff. I don't need that anymore. He said, I think this can be a beautiful film. And he said, but we're going to have to make some changes. And I said, okay, I was on board. And that's what we did. We spent the next couple of months working on the script. And he was really great creatively. He was always in it. And that's why I love him as a director, because at any point in the day, every day, I would get a text or a phone call. I was thinking about this. He was always thinking. He was always creating, expanding the world for this couple, whatever it took. And I didn't always maybe agree with everything he brought in, but he was 100% in for my movie. And I thought, that's what you want, right? You want somebody who's as committed to it as you are. And he brought so much of his own creative soul to it. So that's how it all kind of became the film that it is now. And it was his idea to keep the camera in one spot, which I thought was brilliant, because we were shooting in a very small bathroom. And it was his idea to shoot from the bathroom out. We hadn't originally planned on getting the bedroom in. So that's why it became ensuite. It used to be master bath, and then it became ensuite because it was the whole suite area. It was the bedroom and the bathroom. And so it follows the couple and kind of how their marriage, is informed by the fact that she had this cancer. And they're good people, and they clearly love each other. But things happen, and things change when you go through a devastating diagnosis or an illness, and that's kind of what we wanted to show. Like how are they now a year later? What happened with them? And that's kind of that's the journey that they take together.
That's beautiful. And how was that experience for you, sharing your story? Was it like very emotional or difficult for you?
It's interesting because it's not actually my story. The way the film plays out is absolutely not how my life with my husband played out, thankfully. So in that sense, it wasn't, because I didn't feel like I was reliving anything. I was still playing a character. I was playing a character who was close to me, for sure. There were times. I think there's a fight scene between them, and she talks about how she feels about being cut up, and that's a line that actually came out of my mouth, 100%. So it was okay. I mean, Jeffrey, it's so funny because we were asked this question a lot, and my answer is always, I'm really good at separating myself from situations. So I'm able to go up and act about, about this woman who has breast cancer, even though I had breast cancer, and not fall apart. Whereas he says that what I did was actually quite difficult, and it's a very hard thing to separate. But for me, it's, it was kind of a cool thing to have this connection to it to some extent, because it made it feel very important and very personal to me. And I loved the reaction that everybody had to it, because when people, when you see films and you're touched, like there was another film that I went to see about a parent who had an illness, and I can relate very closely to that. So I found it very emotional for me. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have this big connection to the role that you're playing for it to be meaningful to somebody else. And I actually had a woman come up to me after the film, and I think her name was Rebecca. I took pictures with her, and she said, I have to tell you that I had breast cancer, and I had a mastectomy, and I had reconstruction, and my husband was wonderful through the whole thing. But our marriage didn't last the aftermath of my cancer. And she said, I relate so much to what happened in the film, because what happened in the film pretty much happened in her real life. So she was crying and I was crying and we were hugging, and because it didn't have, the way it plays out on screen didn't happen to me, but it happened to her. And that affected me so much. The way what I did up there affected her, affected me. So it's really a cool thing in that way. And I do like having a connection. I don't know that I'll ever have, like I wrote another one that Jeffrey and I are going to be working on, and I don't have there's nothing real about it for me in it, other than I just had this idea and wrote about it, about this sort of tragic love story. It relates to me in no way. But my hope is that I will still connect with some people, that some people will find that this resonates for them, and is meaningful for them. So as nice as it is to have that connection, I don't think it's always necessary, but I was happy about it. It was nice. It was good. I was happy to be able to take something I had been through and do something with it creatively, because I feel like as creatives, that's what we do. We take our life experience, either our good or the bad, and we put it on paper and we put it on film, or we put it on a canvas, and we find a way to express it. And I was really proud of myself for that, because I hadn't really done that before. I write essays more. Like I've written a lot about my cancer over the years. I usually do right around the anniversary time. And I've written about 4 essays or so. And I really like doing that. It's just me getting it out. But I hadn't actually done the screenwriting thing. And so that was really kind of cool. And I like that we do that, and that we affect other people in that way with our own life experiences. So I think I think that's what makes us who we are, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. And so you mentioned that you write a lot. Like, what type of essays do you write other than to do with
not a ton. So I'm going on, May will be 4 years since my first cancer surgery. So I'll be cancer-free for 4 years. And usually around, I think the last couple of years around the anniversary time, I'll write something. So there was one essay I wrote, my daughter, it was right after my first surgery. I had multiple surgeries. So I think it was my first surgery. She is the Relay for Life chair. She was in her high school, which is the kids, they stay up all night and they relay around their school and they collect money for cancer. And they needed, I was going to say a victim, they needed a survivor on their team. And I didn't want to do it because I felt like it was too soon, but she asked me, and of course I wasn't going to say no. And it was a lot of attention on me. And what's funny about that is, of course, I love to have the attention. I love the spotlight on me because I'm an actor and that's what I do. But as a cancer survivor, it made me extremely uncomfortable. And I did not want to be the poster child for breast cancer. And I had to walk a lap and everybody was clapping and I had to wear a special shirt. And it was obvious, it was like screaming, survivor, survivor. And I found it very uncomfortable. And I wrote about it. I wrote about that whole experience, about how I felt. And so I think that might've been the first one, because it was so bubbled up inside of me. I just had to write it. So I've written things sort of like that. And then the last one that I wrote was a lighter one, because I was going through my drawers and I have a ton of like lacy bras now. My friend told me, another cancer survivor said to me, after your surgery, you're going to have reconstructed breasts. Go out and buy yourself expensive bras, enjoy it. You can, everything's going to look good on you. And so I wrote, I was going through my drawer and I did that. I went out, I did all on the sale racks though, because I'm a bargain hunter. So I went and I bought I've probably got like 60 or 70 of these really pretty bralettes in my drawers. They're like spilling out all over the place. And I said, I have to write about this. So I took them all out and I folded them all on the bed and I took a picture and I wrote about my obsession with bralettes and what it meant to me to go into the store and to sift through them on the racks and try them on. And, that I can remember almost pretty much all of them, when I bought it or where I was, how I felt about it. Did I want it in different colors, and sorting them out in my drawers, so I wrote about that, which was kind of fun, but it was also still a very meaningful thing to me that I became obsessed with buying these bras all the time. And some I wear a lot and some I don't. And right now I'm working out a lot, so I just wear sports bras all the time. So it's kind of like things like that pop in my head, or things that are happening to me in the moment, or where I'm at in my healing. I should probably think about it more and do a little bit more writing, but I've done some so far and I do enjoy that. And I post it for other people to read. And then for the screenwriting stuff, that was new. The Ensuite I wrote with my former creative partner and we wrote it together. I do feel a little bit like we wrote it more in her voice than in mine, because she is an established screenwriter. However, that said, we created these characters together. I brought the idea to her and she really liked it and we worked on every bit of it together. And the next one that I wrote, which is right now working title, is called The Train House. It was all me. That was me 100%. And I need to do some work on it. But that was kind of exciting and liberating to do my own. And hopefully we'll continue to do more, because I also feel like as artists, we have to create our own work sometimes. It's not always, you can't wait around for it. And it took me a long time to really get that. But it's true. If you want to work, sometimes you just have to make it happen on your own.
And what are some other projects that you're writing right now?
That's all I'm working on right now. I do have a friend who's working on something that she started writing based on an idea that we talked about. I'm hoping to work with a couple of other people that I know of that have films. I've been asked to do a couple of other projects in the next few months, I think. So waiting to hear on that. Going to these festival events are really great because you do make some really good connections and people see your work and then they meet you. So it's a great way to kind of establish new relationships moving forward. And then I audition for my agents, send me stuff and audition. I don't have anything that I'm waiting. Actually, I have a film that I'm waiting to hear on, but other than that, it's, a few auditions we're waiting on, but I'm not quite sure what my next job is yet. We'll see.
And what is your experience with auditioning? How do you prepare for your roles, and what is that experience like for you?
It used to be really, really stressful for me. And it's funny because I used to, especially with the whole now that everything is self-taping, when I would get an audition into my inbox, I would always have a moment of panic because, especially when my kids were younger, because I would say, oh my gosh, I have to get into the city and I have to get a babysitter. And there were so many moving parts that I would have to work out in order to make this happen. Now that my kids are older, and my daughter's not even home anymore, I can come and go as I need to. It's not a big deal, but now it's all self-taping. And then I would get really sort of anxious and I would just want to get it done. And I would go down to the studio. My producers have a self-tape studio and I would go down and work with them. And I'd say, I don't care. Let's just do it. I don't care how it is. I want it off my plate. And I was talking to my director, Jeffrey, who was my acting coach for several years before we did the film together. And I told him this about a year and a half ago. And he said to me, I call it our come to Jesus talk, because I told him this. I told him that I really get nervous and I just want it off my plate. And he said, well, Lainey, maybe you really need to rethink this. Maybe this isn't the career for you. If that's how you're feeling about the work, and it's not making you happy, then maybe you need to think about whether or not it's something you really want to be doing. And that really took me by surprise. And I spent a lot of time thinking about it. And I called him back a few days later and I said, I thought about everything that you said and I get it. I said, this is all I want to do, but I realized that I need to change my approach and that I need to not look at it as this terrifying thing. But and this is what he always says. He goes, make the audition the work. Don't think of it as an audition. You're doing the work. So the first thing I do, if it's something really big that I think I'm going to need some help with, is I call him and I say, let's reserve some time. And then I work on memorizing it right off the bat. I read it. I try to get a feel for everything about the project that I can. If I can get my hands on the script, I will. If I can't, I'll see who's involved in it, who's casting, who's producing, just to sort of get a feel whether other actors are in it. I will often read the character breakdowns for the other characters so that I know who I'm interacting with. And then I'll read it, and I start to make some preliminary decisions just on instinct, but I'll usually try to get it memorized right off the bat because it's so much easier to work on it when you're coaching, when it's fully memorized. And I'm not always 100%, but, and then when when you do it, you get more memorized. And I usually make my kids help me because my son's really good at reading lines with me, and he's also good at giving direction. So that's how I memorize best, is reading it over and over and over with somebody. So I'll try to get it memorized first. And then I just, I go through the script and I think about who's she talking to? What's the scenario? Where was she in the moments before the scene started? Where is she going after? What's specific? What is her objective in the scene? What does she want here? What is the relationship with the other people in it? There's so many factors. And really what I try to do is connect to it as much as possible, because I teach acting also. And for me, and the way I was trained, acting is acting from honesty. It's acting from the inside out, from your heart out. And if it's true for you, if it's truth for me, it will be truth for you watching it. You will believe me. If I'm making it up, you're going to watch me on screen and you're going to say, I don't buy it. But if I can find a way to connect to this woman in this role and her life experience or whatever she's going through in this moment, even if I don't have a direct connection, but I can find a way to connect something that happened to me where I can feel what she's feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then I feel like, I try to keep it as I don't want to act. I want to exist as a part of this moment in this scene with this person, whoever I'm with. So that's kind of, I guess, a long-winded explanation of how I approach something. I really try to keep it as truthful as possible. And I feel like if you do that, it's so much, the work is so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I relate because like I said, I've done, I'm mostly like musical theater stuff, not so much just play acting, but yeah, it's cool to hear other people's experience with their auditioning and their roles. And you talked about your son. Is he interested in this type of stuff, or?
No, and it's funny because my husband and I met doing theater years ago. He was never a professional actor per se. He did it more as like a creative outlet. He was a singer in a band, and then he performed with a theater company his whole childhood and up through high school and into college. And when we lived in the city, I became part of a theater company, and he started doing small character roles in all of our plays. So he stayed connected to it for a really long time, but he wasn't pursuing it in the same way that I am professionally. And then my daughter ended up going. In fact, the reason I met Jeffrey originally was because he coached my daughter into her performing arts high school. And part of the way through, she realized that she originally wanted to go into it, and then she decided she didn't, but she finished out her program and she liked it. Like, she really enjoyed performing. She just didn't want to be an actor professionally. And then my son is on the shyer. He's a little bit on the shyer side right now. And I've asked him, they've both been to auditions. In fact, I actually filmed a couple things with them over the years. Remy was in a short film that I produced with me years ago. They've all been extras in stuff I've done. I think my son was also I had to do a self-tape commercial. I booked this thing where I had to make the commercial myself at home, and the whole family was in that. But he has very, very good instincts. He took my acting class off and on for a while. He has very good instincts. He's very smart and he reads really well. And he definitely has some natural talent there. He's just that's not really his thing. And that's okay too, because honestly, it's a big schlep for me to have to take him into the city for auditions. He was doing, before his voice changed, he was doing some voiceover stuff. My agents were sending him auditions. He did a little bit, which he liked doing that. So we may work on trying to get him to do more of that. But he sounds older. He's more mature now. But like there were times I was working on an audition with him, and he said, Mommy, try it. I like the way you did it the other way. Try it again like that. And he's just got good. It's just, some people they just have it.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of those people that he's very, he's got a very creative mind. He's super smart. I don't know. He's got a good ear for stuff. So, but as of now, no, he's not looking to be on any kind of movie or TV set. Not yet. We'll see.
Well, that's great. Your whole family has this like creative eye and this natural talent. That's great.
Yeah, it's a big competition in the house. So who gets all the spotlight? And I'm like, no, me, nobody else, just me.
And do you have any social media or your website to plug?
I do. My website is being worked on because I'm not very good at that kind of stuff, and I did it myself. But it's LaineyVentura.com, and it has a bunch of my stuff on there. But just don't judge because I think my son is actually going to work on it for me. And then my Instagram is Lainey VEE 1, and my Facebook is Lainey Ventura. And I think Twitter, is also at Lainey Ventura. I don't do as much on Twitter. I'm mostly Instagram and Facebook.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you so much. This is great.
Oh, thank you, Sophia. You're a pleasure. Thank you so much. You ask great questions too.
Thank you. And I'll send you the completed interview once I finish editing it.
Oh, that would be terrific. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Okay. Well, good luck with everything. I hope to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Bye.